What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today I have some bad news. I broke my arm. Completely broke my wrist. Here's a picture of it right here of the x-ray. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So I'm guessing a lot of you guys, at least in the US, have spring break, and on the first day of spring break on Saturday, I was playing basketball and tripped over somebody and fell right onto my wrist. And guys, the pain of falling on, the pain of breaking your wrist is so painful. You don't even know, like it's like you're dying. Your whole body goes into shock. Like my whole body was going into shock, and like it felt like my body was vibrating, which it was in like shock. My body was in shock, so that's why I felt like I was paralyzed. So it was a pretty unpleasant experience. The good thing is I had neighbors around. I was in the driveway of one of the kids' houses playing basketball, and when I fell down and broke my wrist, I started screaming. I didn't know what to do. I was like, call 911. I didn't know what to do. Don't make fun of me. But this is the first time I've ever broken a bone, so I was so scared. And I mean, I'm only 15, so I don't know what to do. I'm just a kid. But anyway, one of the kids' dads rushed out to me, and he made like a makeshift cast or a makeshift splint for me while I was on the ground in pain. Like I was in so much pain. So he made like a makeshift splint with like foam and 2x4 and just put it on my arm. And one of the kids actually rushed to my house where my dad was there and told him about it, and the kid completely underestimated what happened. He told my dad I was bleeding, apparently, when I wasn't just bleeding. My arm was broken. He thought I was just bleeding, but my arm was completely broken. It was literally in an S shape. It was so bad. I looked over at it when I first fell, and it was in the shape of an S. It was so bad. Anyway, my dad sent my brother out there to check on me, and when he went back. My dad came outside, and my dad actually called the urgent care. We have an urgent care place near our house, so we called that and got put in the car. I literally had to be carried into the car, and it took like 10 to 15 minutes to get to that place, which was extremely painful. I was just in the car in so much pain, just sitting there like just dying, and I was just like talking to my dad. I was like, I love you guys. Like, you guys, I know I sound like a pussy, but it's just so much pain. You don't even know how much pain it is. If you broke your wrist, you'd understand. You won't understand it until it happens to you. That's the same thing that's happened to me. I will laugh if I see a video of someone breaking their bones, but I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore, because when it happens, it is bad. It is so bad. When you see other people do it, it doesn't look that bad, but when it actually happens to you, it is extremely bad. So I didn't know what to do. Like I said, I was just freaking out, so I wasn't thinking straight. So they rushed me to the urgent care. The urgent care didn't do anything for me. All they did was give me like ibuprofen or something, and I was just laying on one of the beds, and they didn't really do anything for me. I was just laying there, and eventually the people at the urgent care told us that they can't even do anything about it, so we had to go to the hospital. So then I got rushed back into my car. My mom was actually out eating at the moment, so she was freaked the hell out, so she couldn't really do anything about it until she got there. So she finally got there while I was leaving the urgent care, and obviously she was extremely concerned. I mean, it's my mom, and everyone was just completely concerned and just wanted to get me to the hospital as fast as possible. So after like literally 15 more minutes of in pain just sitting in the car, we finally got to the hospital. I was sitting in the car for like 5 minutes waiting for someone to come outside to get me in front of the emergency area. And let me tell you right now, when you think of an emergency area, you think of you walk in, you get rushed to a room. No, that's not how it works. Legit, I had to sit in there. I had to sit in a little waiting room while they're like, let's see your ID information and stuff. Like, I'm just sitting there in pain with my arm in an S shape. So I had to sit there for like 10 minutes waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting again. I had to keep waiting, and then they finally pushed my wheelchair. I actually got put in a wheelchair when I got out the car, so I was in like a wheelchair in case like I didn't really have the strength to walk at the moment. I could walk, but they just wanted to keep the pain at a minimum. So they pushed me to another room, and then they examined me or whatever. And finally, after like 15 minutes in the hospital, they finally got me to a room, and they put me in a bed. I forgot to say this, but the people at the hospital were surprisingly calm, and I actually sat there for a while as well. I had like a temporary splint on from the urgent care. That's the only thing they did for me. So I had that on at least. That was kind of suppressing the pain, but it really wasn't. It was still extremely painful. And finally, what they did was they gave me morphine, which actually brought the pain down a lot. Also, a quick side note, I forgot to say this in between. There was actually a lot of stuff that happened in between when I got to the hospital bed and when they gave me the morphine. A lot of different doctors started coming in. They asked me how it happened, how I broke my arm, and I had explained it to all of them. And then just a lot of people were coming in and out of it and asking me questions and stuff. And then they gave me the morphine, and I felt way better. It still hurt. Trust me, it still hurt. It didn't completely take the pain away, but it still hurt like hell. So I was sitting there still in pain, but not as much pain as before, which was good. I wasn't in too much pain. I was able to talk. I was able to do everything else. And then after that, they said that they had to do a procedure, and this procedure was they had to actually put my arm back into place while I was asleep. So what they did was they gave me an anesthesia shot. So they gave me a shot of that. They're like, what's your name? I told them my name, and then eventually it just hit me. I went to sleep, and in my sleep, it was the most nauseating, confusing, uncomfortable thing I've ever experienced. Okay, so like I said before, people have probably done this a million times, but this is my first time ever being in the hospital for an emergency like this, except when I was like 2. But I've never been in anesthesia. I've never been put to sleep like this before, so it was really weird and uncomfortable. So I was like, in my dream, I was like half awake but half not, because with the type of stuff they gave me, I was still able to breathe consciously, but I was dreaming at the same time. It was kind of weird. I was like, I was in and out, and it was really nauseating. It made me extremely dizzy, and eventually I started kind of waking up. I started hearing voices, and then eventually my eyes were kind of opening and closing and opening and closing. I couldn't actually keep my eyes open the whole time because of the anesthesia. The sedative was keeping me asleep, but not at the same time because I was trying to wake up. It was basically like I was drunk. So a couple minutes passes while I'm in that state, and I actually threw up twice on my right shoulder, all over my arm. It was pretty nasty. And then eventually after that, I finally came to my senses and woke up completely. And then I threw up about 5 times into a bag one of the doctors had in front of me. So yeah, and then that was the end of the throwing up, thank God. And I was just sitting in the hospital bed. I was in so much less pain. It was still very uncomfortable. It was still a little painful, but they've actually put my arm back into place. Here's a picture of the x-ray after they did the procedure. As you can see, it's a lot better. It's a million times better than what it was initially. They definitely put it back into place well. The bones are still a little bit out of place, but then I got put in the car, and then we drove home. And then I got home, I took a picture of my cast and a video of my cast and stuff, and then I tried my best to go to sleep that night. That was the hardest thing to do. You guys don't know how hard it was to sleep that night. It was so hard. I couldn't fall asleep. I kept waking up. I woke up at least like 3 times in the middle of the night with my arm in pain and just extremely uncomfortable. I had to sleep in our guest room. I didn't even get to sleep in my own bedroom because they didn't want me to walk upstairs for some reason, because I guess they were afraid I would trip and fall. And this creaky old bed in our guest room downstairs. So yeah, I had to sleep there. It was very uncomfortable, and I barely got any sleep. I probably got like 4 hours of sleep. Then I woke up, arm was hurting, and then over the past few days, I've just had to have my arm still as possible. I can move it and stuff. It's actually really difficult to do a lot of everyday things. Trust me, it's very difficult. Just anyone out there, try not to break your bones, because it really does suck. Like, especially with everyday things, I have to do literally everything with one hand. Like, I can't even take a shower by myself. A lot of my life for the past week has been just sitting and not really doing much. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, I edited this video with one hand. I've actually been editing with one hand. That's how dedicated I am to this channel, even though it's not going to go anywhere. No one's going to even see this video. I bet no one is even this far into the video. On the bright side, here's some pictures of the x-ray we took yesterday. We actually went back to the hospital yesterday. It's been 2 days as of now. And they took x-rays of my hand again, and it actually looks a lot better, but still there's a little bit of broken bone left in the main area where it broke. So what I have to do is I have to keep my arm as still as possible. I can't bump it. I can't do anything like that. If I do bump it, it will go out of place. Doctor said stuff like this can easily fall out of place. Like, it can easily just fall down at any moment, so you don't want to bump it or put too much weight on it or anything like that. So at the moment, my arm's just still. I'm gonna have to be like this for about 2 more months. 2 more months. Yes, months. For the rest of the school year, I have to be like this, and school's gonna be tough. It's still spring break at the moment, so I haven't gone back to school yet. It's not gonna be easy though. I actually have to have a rolling backpack. I can't even carry a normal backpack. And also with coronavirus, schools actually might be canceled. As of now, my school shut down for coronavirus for about a week. If they do close it down, that'll be good for me, but also bad for me, because think if I didn't break my arm, how much extra time I would have had to actually enjoy myself. So here's what's gonna happen, guys. I'll have to only edit videos that I've already recorded. I can't record any new videos, obviously, because I only have one arm. I can't play any games with one arm. So any recordings that I already have on my computer, that's what I'll have to go by. That's what I'll have to edit with. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for being here with me. If anyone got this far into the video, thank you for listening, and hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace. What's up, guys? One more thing before the video ends. I just want to let you guys know. I just want to spread the word. Obviously, coronavirus is going around. It's really bad. I live in the U.S., so it hasn't hit me as much as it's hit other countries. But I know you've probably heard this from a lot of people. But make sure you wash your hands really frequently. Even if you don't have that good of hygiene, just make sure your hygiene is top notch for a while the coronavirus is going around. Because even though it doesn't sound like much, washing your hands and having good hygiene is actually really important to not completely prevent the coronavirus, but it definitely helps with the coronavirus. People say it doesn't help, but it may not prevent the virus completely, but it will help you. And as long as you're not old, you shouldn't really have to worry about it as much as other people do. But still, take precautions. Make sure you buy toilet paper. Make sure you buy food. Buy a lot of stuff. Stock up on everything. Try to get to stores as early as possible in the morning so you can stock up on as much as you can, because people are going crazy with toilet paper and food and stuff like that. So just make sure you get all that stuff. Make sure you're prepared, and that's all I wanted to say. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Don't get the coronavirus, and I'll see you all in the next one.